most of the best games for the Steam Deck fly right under the radar. So with the Steam Summer Sale starting right now, here's 25 of my top choices for what I would pick up if I was trying to add some new bangers to the library. Also, feel free to drop your suggestions in the comments down below so that we can all get excited to buy games for super cheap and then never play them. So starting with number 1, Midnight Fight Express. I've been asked about this game probably hundreds of times at this point. This is a game made by a single dude that feels like it was made for this package. There's only around 20 active players right now. It's super underrated, and it's essentially a beat 'em up that feels like a top-down John Wick game. There's guns, combat, fighting, an awesome soundtrack, level design, customization options. It's sick. For 10 bucks, you can't go wrong. Now, next up is a game that got me into PC gaming. I think I downloaded a virus onto my family computer at the time trying to get mods for it. Just Cause 2 on the Steam Deck is one of those unicorn games. It barely sips battery, and 15 years later, still one of the biggest maps in any open world game. It's a blast on the go and super easy to pick up and get into the action ASAP. I got it for $1.50. You can't even eat at McDonald's anymore for the price of this game. Now, if you want to mix it up with the sequel to one of the best roguelites ever, Hades 2 right now is in early access, even though it's buttery smooth right now on a handheld. Hades 1 was an absolute banger on the Steam Deck. I sunk a bunch of time trying different builds and speedrunning the game. You have to try it at least once if you have a Steam Deck. All right, if you remember the game Fear, this one is like the spiritual successor as an indie game. I honestly still can't get over how satisfying the gameplay loop is. You basically play as this super soldier who can slow down time and go invisible. The story has a bunch of horror elements in it, and it's basically just going level by level, mowing down mercenaries. Now, my most recent pickup I actually got yesterday was DRG Survivor. If you like games like Vampire Survivors combined with the Deep Rock Galactic space aesthetic, it's really addicting. Also, the visuals are fantastic on OLED. It's the type of game that you can just jump into every now and then, and it's $9, so about one Chipotle bowl. Now, this next one, once you get the hang of it, is one of my most satisfying games. It's how you should design hard games. Every time you die, you age 1 year. You do more damage, but you have less health. Sifu is a pure story fighting game that can be a pain to beat flawlessly, but once you get the flow of the combat mechanics, you basically shred through everything while the game plays like you're moving like Jackie Chan in a John Wick movie. Now, I'm throwing in another roguelite in at number 7, Deadcells. Fantastic game for those who have ADHD or brain rot because it plays like you're on cocaine. Super fast, combat is very precise, you can unlock a bunch of weapons and outfits, and it keeps you hooked where you just keep wanting to do new runs. If you're looking for one of the best experiences on the Steam Deck when it comes to story games, not as good as Suicide Squad, but the Batman Arkham Collection runs like a dream on this. Each game is $4. The graphics, atmosphere, it's just a masterclass of a game series that feels like the perfect recommendation. Now, keeping some variety here, Enter the Gungeon is another bullet hell style roguelike. The gameplay is chaotic, crispy, but the replayability aspect here again is great because each run you essentially have a completely different experience. Another one of those pick up, play a bit style games where you don't need to dive deep into an RPG. Now, it's hard to imagine a list that includes Enter the Gungeon and not Brotato. Here you fight hordes of enemies in an arena where you upgrade your build round by round. Fantastic for quick sessions, uses basically no power, it's just pure gameplay, plus a ton of items, distinctive traits, and you have to put some thought into your builds. Noita is a bit of a controversial pick for me because it's a very weird game. Every pixel in this game is physically simulated. All the liquids, solids, and materials change based on temperature. You play as this wizard man, and the game doesn't quite guide you at all. You'll die like 1,000 times, but it's a refreshing take on the roguelike formula because it gives you so much freedom. Another underrated gem that's pretty old is Synthetik. One of my best friends put me onto this game, and instead of bullet hell, it's like bullet chess. You have to be very methodical, and the gameplay is full of explosions, headshots, quick time reloads. It plays very tactically, and you can play it co-op, which is pretty sweet. If you are looking for another fantastic co-op option on a handheld, Risk of Rain 2 is solid. Sometimes the devs tend to break it with updates, but it offers a lot to learn. The gameplay loop is a nice mix of dopamine and stress, plus if you throw in some mods with friends, it's dope. Slay the Spire is the first deck building game I'm featuring. I wouldn't have even considered a card game in the past, but this game is so good. Really addicting. I'm not even gonna say anything else, just look at the reviews. Now, BeamNG is next up and one of the few games on my list that actually pushes the Steam Deck. I think this game scratches the itch for watching car crash compilations. So moving on to Halls of Torment, it looks like Baldur's Gate 1 graphics, but it feels like upgraded Vampire Survivors. Each run is like 30 minutes. There's a ton of bosses and characters to choose from. You fight hordes, collect gear, and it reminds me of Diablo a bit without any horrible grind. Honestly, the game slaps. Cult of the Lamb is another really unique game that feels like it was made for an OLED screen. It's like a village manager with a roguelite built in. The art style is sweet. It doesn't feel super repetitive like other games. You can just bounce between all the different aspects of the game while you complete the story. Super cozy little indie game. And the same goes for Valheim. If you're trying to find those chill vibe games, Valheim is a Viking survival journey where you can build bases with your friends. There's a bunch of different biomes and mobs. The aesthetic combined with a survival system keeps it chill, but it can also be super grindy if you're into that. Now, my experience with the old Bethesda games has also been pretty good. I know they're a husk of what they used to be, but playing Skyrim in this form factor still never seems to get old, and the same goes with New Vegas. Throw some mods in, and they're a blast. If you're into platformers, Celeste has really enjoyable level designs, one of the most fluid movement systems I've played on a handheld. You'll die like 20,000 times completing the story, but it keeps you trying new things and learning from your mistakes. Now, the final 5 on my list. Stardew Valley doesn't even need an introduction at this point. The ultimate chill game that anyone can get into. Super peaceful, you can farm and just disconnect for a bit. Halo MCC is another gem on the Steam Deck. It runs and plays flawlessly in this form factor. This is something that if I showed myself when I was 8, I would have lost my mind. Hollow Knight is another game I recently got into because of handhelds. It starts off a bit slow, but as it picks up, it shows you how much a simple platformer can become this fantastic playthrough. And how could I not mention Vampire Survivors at this point? Really great for people who have short attention spans and want to get addicted to a gameplay loop. And finally, before the honorable mentions, you have to try GTA on this. Both GTA 4 and 5 run fantastic on handhelds. I just played the entire story last year on the Steam Deck, and it was baller. I wanted to add some lesser known indie games to the list because obviously you have to check out Brotato, Elden Ring, Cyberpunk, Baldur's Gate, but I'd rather play some of those games on the PC and then stream it because there's a ton of awesome older AAA games that this thing eats up. If you are a small indie dev, please feel free to reach out. I would love to showcase little gems that aren't in the spotlight yet. So drop down your suggestions for games you're playing now, and a big thanks for watching.